you, Billy, for that kind introduction. And thank you to the over 200,000 voters from Georgia's 3rd Congressional District for electing me to represent you in the United States Congress. I'd like to do something a little different with this speech and focus on those who made this victory possible. But let's start first by giving glory to God, our Father above. Thank you for letting us be. I would also not be on stage without the endorsements of the man for whom I worked for 9 years, the 45th, and based on every number we've seen thus far, the soon-to-be 47th President. I just spoke with him a few minutes ago, and he kindly congratulated me, and he proudly reminded me as well just how big the crowds were for him when he came to Pike County just 2 weeks ago. I'm also on this stage in large part thanks to my campaign team, and that starts with Billy Kirkland, who introduced me. I hope everyone in this room is lucky enough to have a friend like Billy Kirkland. Billy is one of the most loyal people I've ever met, and he also happens to be my best friend. So thank you, Billy. Kieran and Preston, who many of you had an opportunity to work with, are both in West Palm Beach tonight celebrating the next election of our next president. So I'm grateful for everything they did for this campaign. And I also want to acknowledge Joseph Brannon, who was with us this evening. I'm incredibly grateful for his friendship and support, and to share a brief anecdote. When this seat came open, Joseph called Billy, and he said, look, I'm going to hold my fire. I'm not going to do anything until Brian makes a decision. And he was like, it doesn't matter how long it takes, even if it's the last day before the filing deadline, I'm going to be with him. So you were. Thank you, Joseph, for everything. Thomas, Bobby, Charles, Eamon, John, Jason, and John. Thank you for helping make tonight possible, and doing so at probably the most discounted rate in the history of congressional politics. Thank you very much. This campaign started with 5 candidates in the Republican field, and I'm really grateful to have developed relationships with each and every one of them. And I'd first like to acknowledge someone who I had a chance to spend a lot of time with. He is a man of incredible faith, conviction. He is a very principled individual, and he's here with us tonight, Senator Mike Crane and Tracy Crane. Thank you. Also with us is Jim Bennett and his wonderful wife, Lord. I want to acknowledge for a moment, Jim protected those in our district in Carroll County for many years, and his wife protects all of us in Columbus anytime we're down there. I want to thank both Jim and your wife, Laura, for helping make this possible. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Philip Singleton, with whom I spoke earlier. He called to wish me congratulations, and his wife, Julie. And likewise, I'd like to thank Senator Mike Dugan and his wife, Missy. I went to the West Georgia football game this past weekend, and Mike kindly introduced me to a lot of his friends from Carroll County there. And anybody that puts their name on the ballot, it's a risk. You get a lot of things thrown your way, but I'm incredibly grateful for the relationships that we built as candidates for this seat, and hopefully as we build them in the future, for everything they've done. I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you. So our congressional district is very big. It spans 15 counties, and as Senator Crane often noted, it's geographically bigger than a few states in our country. So I'd like to start by thanking everybody who made it possible to win my home county where we are today, Fayette County. Thank you very much. The Fayette County Republican Party and the Greater Fayette Republican Women's Club, they are filled with some of the most incredible patriots I've ever met, and I'd like to thank a few of them that are in the room with us tonight. Chairwoman Elaine Kilgore, my good friend Nancy Holland, Linda Ellis, who knocked more doors to President Trump than anybody else in the state of Georgia. Monica Eisenberg, City Councilwoman Suzanne Brown, City Councilman Clint Collins, Randy, Denise, Meg, Sherry, Walt, Kathy, and Angela. Thank you so much for everyone that's a member of those incredible organizations. And when I entered the room, we were leading and winning Fayette County, so I'm incredibly grateful for all of your effort. Thank you. friends from Fayette County who have known me much longer than this race. Former Chairman Tyrone Jones, former Peachtree City Mayor Vanessa Fleisch, and former Mayor Harold Logston, for whom I worked back in 2007. Thank you for everything. We also have with us tonight Archbishop Foley Beach, who is the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of North America, and Father Michael Fry from All Saints Anglican Church. Thank you all for being here tonight as well. And to State Senator Marty Harbin, who I think is at 70%, so I'll just tell Marty, next time win by a little bit less so you don't make us look so bad. Thank you to Senator Harbin for endorsing me in my primary campaign. Thank you. So I'd like to shift to the eastern part of our district and recognize Pike County from the aptly named Plus Counties, PLUS Pike County. And in my primary and my runoff election, Pike County gave me the largest share of votes anywhere in the district. And I was very proud to bring President Trump for the first time in his political career to visit our congressional district just 2 weeks ago. That visit would not have happened without the leadership of Chairman Chad Proctor, John Hanson, and Pastor Billy Smith. Thank you all very much. Next up, we've got Lamar County. Lamar County is so fortunate to have the leadership of their incredible Republican Party Chairwoman Beth Pierce and County Commissioner Ashley Gillis. I'm proud to call you friends. Thank you for delivering an historic result tonight. Thank you. Next, we'll head to Upson County and recognize someone you do not want to cross, Chairwoman Lisa Pierce of the Upson County Republican Party. She and I made history together when we brought Dr. Ben Carson to Thomaston. It was a first for that community, and very grateful for her support. I'd also like to recognize Todd Willis and one of the greatest mayors in our state, Mayor J.D. Stallings from Thomaston, and his lovely wife, Chandler. Thank you all very much. And the last, but certainly not least, of the Plus counties is Spalding County. And this journey, along this journey, I met an incredible group of women who really inspired me when they had homemade Brian Jack for Congress t-shirts. And I'd like to recognize the president of the Griffin Spalding Republican Women, Mary Braun, Jody, Cindy, Mama, everyone else. Thank you all very much. We're wearing them tonight. Thank you also to the Griffin Mayor, Doug Holberg, and County Commissioner James Dutton, one of the best county commissioners in our district. Dave Mann, the Chastain family, especially Taylor, who was in my class at Woodward Academy, and the leadership of the Spalding County Republican Party and Sun City Republicans. Thank you all for tonight. The most populous county in our district is Coweta County, and it delivered in a historic way tonight. I'd like to thank my good friend, Commissioner Bob Blackburn, Chairwoman Katie Frost, who's at the Republican Party headquarters in Atlanta, making sure everything's good, the entire Frost family, and the entire leadership of the Coweta Republican Party for delivering over 67% of the vote tonight for Donald Trump and my campaign. Just south of Coweta is Meriwether County, and he's not with us, but I want to acknowledge him for the news. Commissioner Brian Threadgill is an incredible guy, was with me on day one and kindly took me to the Manchester-Greenville football game last Friday, so thank you very much, Commissioner Threadgill. Next, we have Troup County, and it's a part of our district that continues to have explosive economic growth, and that's in large part due to the leadership of Troup County. I'd like to first acknowledge and recognize Jamie Jackson, a true friend of mine, somebody who's here with us today, and largely responsible for a lot of the business coming into Troup. Likewise, Jared Boopy Jones is in the room, and your entire wonderful family. Helen Rice, the former chairwoman of the Troup County Republican Party, Max Kirby, and the mayor of Hogansville, Jake Ayers, who's done incredible things for that community. Thank you all very much for delivering Troup County tonight. Many of our friends from the southernmost part of the district, the Muskogee and Harris counties, are down making sure they're poll watching and making sure everything goes well in Columbus tonight. But I'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge Amy Hatfield, Sherry Carmack, Alton Russell, Dan and Tripp Amos, Ray Blair, Jimmy Blanchard, and the incredible membership of the Republican Women of Muskogee Harris County and Muskogee County Republican Party. Thank you all very much. From those counties, I'd also like to acknowledge my very first endorsement in the state legislature, Carmen Rice, State Representative Rice, is an incredible person. Thank you very much for helping me get here. Further north, we arrive in Heard County, and I'd like to thank two incredible people within it, Sheriff Ross Henry and County Commission Chairman Lee Boone, for being one of my first endorsements and really giving me the juice I needed to stand here today. Thank you very much. Next, we have Carroll County, and I'd like to start by thanking Chairman Rick Tillman, somebody that I've known for a long time, and somebody who helped put me here today, the Carroll County Republican Party, State Senator Tim Bearden, the Stone family, and two people with whom I've had an opportunity to build an incredible relationship, Aaron and Linda McWhorter. Thank you all very much. In Carroll's east is Douglas County, and I am grateful for the incredible Republican women of Douglas County, the Douglas County Republican Party, led by Cindy Morley, who I've known for a long time. Thank you very, very much. And I'd also like to acknowledge someone who celebrated with us in this very room in June. He suffered a tragic automobile accident just afterwards, but he is swiftly recovering, and I had a chance to enable him to spend some time with President Trump just a couple weeks ago. Let's give a round of applause to Chairman Bill Jones. Finally, we come to Haralson County, which carries special meaning for me because it's where my family settled in Georgia nearly 200 years ago. Many from my family are here tonight, and I'd like to start by recognizing my amazing mother. God gave me the greatest blessing when He made me your son, and you are both literally and figuratively the reason why I'm on this stage. Thank you for everything. To Aunt Sonia and Uncle Kurt, to Uncle Al and Aunt Pam, to Uncle Charles and Aunt Suzanne, to Aunt Janice, to Uncle Greg and Aunt Sandy watching from at home, to Elizabeth, thank you for your endless faith in me. I'm incredibly grateful. And when I speak about Haralson County, I'm reminded of my grandfather, your father, and I'm also reminded of our beloved Meemaw. And to think of the hardships that each and every one of them endured, and each and every one of you endured during your early time on this wonderful earth, to represent Buchanan, Georgia, is an incredible affirmation of that this country is the greatest country in the history of humanity. Thank you all very much. My father, my Aunt Jack Marie, and my 100-year-old grandmother are intently watching at home. And thanks to the prayers of many of you in this audience, my father recovered from a stroke that he suffered about 6 months ago. And I know he is beaming with pride because he's going to get to be my hitting coach for the congressional baseball game. Thank you, Dad. My grandmother is the healthiest 100-year-old you will ever meet, and I just spoke with her before I came down, and I told her that she's batting 1,000 on getting her one grandchild elected to Congress. She's 1 for 1 getting grandchildren elected to Congress. Thank you guys for that. To Emily, this victory does not happen without you, and I'm so proud to have you by my side. And to Alex, Matt, and their newest-born baby, Noah, watching at home, thank you for pushing me here and making sure that I stood on this stage before you victorious. Thank you very much. I'd like to close by thanking some of the folks that made it possible, gave us the resources to thrive in this room. Edith Davis is here, Scott Johnson is here, and Stan Fitzgerald from the Veterans for America First for endorsing me on day one. Thank you all very much. Now, that's a lot of thank yous, but it reflects how I feel about this race. I won because of you, and I will never forget each and every one of you for putting me here to represent you in Washington, D.C. And as your next congressman, I will proudly legislate upon the same values and issues that I campaigned upon. You heard me talk a lot during my stump speech about the economy, and I truly believe, as you're going to see, as soon as I get off the stage and you start watching Fox News, you're going to see that the exit polls show that it's by far and away the #1 issue. People are voting today because they care about the economy. So here's what I want to do. The first thing and the most consequential piece of legislation that our next Congress will face are the expiration of President Trump's tax cuts. They expire at the end of 2025, and in me, you will have a solid vote to not just make permanent those tax cuts, but to also work with President Trump to cut taxes on tips, no taxes on tips, and no taxes on Social Security benefits. I will work with President Trump to continue his historic deregulatory effort. And as you recall, during the Trump administration, I worked with him to cut for every regulation on the books, state existing regulations, and he wants to supercharge that when elected. Deregulation is the surest way to ensure our economic success. And I also want to work with everyone in this community, everybody connected to an energy industry. I want to ensure that our energy producers are able to harness the energy that God gave us here on earth. If we can cut taxes, if we can deregulate and unleash America's energy potential, we will put our economy back on track. In me, you've got a solid vote for all three of them.
Yes, sir.
For border security, I will equip President Trump and his administration with every tool they need to ensure we get back to the most secure border in the history of our country, and I will proudly work to sponsor legislation that requires proof of American citizenship when you vote in an American election. Finally, I will seek to reduce the size and scope of federal government. You hear every politician talk about it, but I've presented to each and every one of you an innovative idea and solution to accomplish that often unachievable goal, and that is to start moving and relocating these agencies and departments outside of Washington, D.C. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard me talk about it, but if we move the Department of Agriculture to Georgia, you have far better policy for our farmers and our cattlemen. If you moved the Department of Homeland Security to our U.S.-Mexico border, and every employee at DHS worked alongside that border, would we not have the most secure border in the history of our country? So these are just a few innovative ideas that I campaigned on. But one of the things I was most proud of in the Trump White House when I served there is on the wall in the West Wing, there was written down every campaign promise and pledge that President Trump made. And he did that because he felt that when elected to the presidency in 2016, he had to honor every promise he made to the American people. That's exactly what you're going to have on me. You can have every promise that I made on a campaign board in my office, and I encourage each and every one of you to come to Washington, D.C. and make sure I'm checking them off. So I look forward to that. I'd like to end by affirming my commitment to everybody here for transparency and accountability. I've promised over and over again, and I've done it on air plenty of times, that I promise within the first year of my election to the U.S. House of Representatives, I will hold in-person town hall meetings in every one of our counties across the district so that you can approach me, you can give me good feedback, negative feedback, and any encouragement or advice that you so have. I should face you, the voters, every single time I possibly can to ensure that you have that accessibility to me. So that is a promise that I will make to everyone in this room, in-person town hall meetings. You also have in me someone who strictly adheres to Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment, which states that thou shalt not attack any Republican. And I think each and every one of you knows, and to the folks in the room, to many dismay, frankly, that wanted me to attack during this race, I never did. I never spent one penny attacking any of my opponents in this race. I think you should not have to tear someone else down in order to build yourself up, and that's what you're going to get from me. We are excited to see the results of the presidential election, and I encourage each and every one of you to stick around for as long as you possibly can, and at the same time too, if you want to go home and watch from the comfort of your home, please do so. Excited to see what happens. On my way over here, as I mentioned, I spoke with President Trump. He feels, as do I, incredibly good. Georgia, I think he's going to win by 3% based on every poll, and that doesn't happen without the people in this room. And in Pennsylvania, the New York Times, as I walked in, showed him up 1 point in their predictions. So we have Georgia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. We're going to have an historic election tonight. Thank you to everybody for making that possible. As we seek to make history tonight, I just want to close with a quote that meant a lot to me, and it's one that I think it should probably mean a lot to everybody else too when you listen to it. Never doubt that a small group of concerned, thoughtful citizens can change the world, and do you know why? Because it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you all very, very much. Enjoy tonight. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you. Thank you.